Big Run, you from Nashville, tuning in. I hear you, Big Run. Hey, this is Biker Caliente, and we're doing it live in the Caliente Garage. Today, I'm going to change the oil. I'm gonna change the oil inside of my 2016 Honda Goldwing GL 1800, AKA Big Sexy. I'm gonna change the oil. But before we change the oil, we're gonna talk about oil. I received an email and one of you was asking, when you change the oil on the Honda Goldwing, can you go from conventional oil to synthetic? And if you go from conventional oil to synthetic, could you go back to conventional oil? Can you actually go back and forth? So we're gonna talk about that here in the Caliente Garage live. And then we're gonna change the oil on my Honda Goldwing. Appreciate you guys for tuning in. Just responding back to some of your comments and emails. I don't always get a chance to respond, but I figured today would be a good day to do some live in the Caliente Garage and talk about motor oil. What's best for the Honda Goldwing? Should you go with conventional? Should you go with synthetic? Could you go back and forth? Which brand is the best? Try to answer a few of your questions and also just change the oil. And we're gonna try to do it live. I see you, Brian Wheel. Hello, Master Goldwinger Chris. Great channel. I appreciate that, Brian. Checking in from San Antonio, Texas. You just went through a firmware update, dead battery, new battery, uninstall, popping the side panner manually. Okay. What's up, Oscar Gilbert? I see you. Adam from Ireland. Oh, okay, y'all watching from Ireland. I got Ireland in the house. Got Poland in the house. Let me know where y'all checking in from. What city, what state, what country you tuning in from. So I figured this would be a good day today to be live in the Caliente Garage. So I'm gonna even read some of your comments, might even take a phone call or two. But the purpose of this live feed today is changing the oil inside of my 2016 Honda Goldwing. Now, I normally change my oil about a couple times a year. I generally change it once just before we go into the winter months. As you know, winter is just around the corner. We're just a few weeks away and wintertime will be upon us. So we're getting into the temperature changes where it's getting colder outside, and depending on where you live, a lot of you are starting to winterize your bikes and put them up for the winter. So I generally change my oil a couple of times a year going into the winter months. And also I change the oil around late spring or going into the summer months. So for me, probably 2 times a year. Now the Honda Goldwing calls for an oil change about every 8,000 miles, according to the owner's manual. I generally change my oil about 2 times a year. Okay, Brad, tuning in from Southern Utah. So how's everybody doing today? Appreciate you guys tuning in. I thought I'd do something different today and change the oil on my Honda Goldwing live. So one of the biggest questions that I always get is, what is the best oil to use for the Honda Goldwing? What is the best oil? Honda actually recommends the GN4. It's a 4-stroke motor oil. And this particular Goldwing calls for a 10W30. Now I'm holding a 10W40. I generally run a 10W40 because I pull a trailer. But Honda calls for a 10W30. This is a 4-stroke motor oil made by Honda that you can put inside of your Honda Goldwing. And this is actually conventional. This is not a full synthetic. I think the full synthetic comes in a reddish container. So what is the best oil? You can't go wrong when using the Honda brand oil. That's what it calls for, the 10W30. I think the 2001, which is the first generation, I think they call for a 10W40, but I'm positively sure from 2012 and up, they call for a 10W30. But it's not going to hurt if you go with a 10W40, especially if you're pulling a trailer or if you live in some of the hotter climates and you run your Goldwing pretty hard. To my viewers, what oil are you using in your Honda Goldwing? Whether you're riding the new style Honda Goldwing or the previous generation, what oil are you actually using? What brand and what weight are you using? Now, usually when I do an oil change on my Honda Goldwing, I actually go with the AMSOIL. I generally run a 10W30, like I said, what it's called for. The 10W30 has a greenish top on it. This is a 10W40. I pull a trailer, log a lot of miles, so I generally try to bump it up a little bit and go with a bigger weight, which is the 10W40, but it calls for a 10W30. Again, it's not going to hurt your motorcycle if you go with the 10W40, but always follow the OEM recommendations. One of the emails that I received, one of you wanted to know if you start out with the conventional and you move to a synthetic oil, could you go back to a conventional oil? And that's a very good question, because believe it or not, there's a big misconception that if you switch to a full synthetic, that you cannot go back to a conventional. One thing about full synthetic oil is that it's derived from conventional oil. So when we hear the word synthetic, we kind of get, we think of like artificial oil when we hear synthetic. But synthetic oil is actually derived from conventional oil. They do certain things to it as far as taking out certain things or adding certain additives or certain modifiers, and they call it synthetic oil. And it's better than conventional oil. But the biggest thing you wanted to know was, could you actually switch back to a conventional oil once you run synthetic? To answer your question, yes, you could go from conventional to synthetic. You can go back to conventional, and you can do this as many times as you like. So there's a big misconception. Some of you feel that once you go to a synthetic that you can't go back, but you actually can, because synthetic oil is actually derived from conventional oil. But getting back to the original question, yes, you could actually go from conventional to synthetic and then go back to conventional. The thing about the synthetic oil is that it's a lot thinner than conventional oil. So if your engine is new, your engine is not worn out or anything like that, once you go to synthetic, you're going to see the benefits of actually running a synthetic. But let's just say the engine is worn, you got a lot of miles on it, on your automobile, whether it's a motorcycle or a car, you got a lot of miles on it, and then you go back to, well, you go to a synthetic, and then you start seeing an oil leak. So that's another myth. The thing about the synthetic oil is, since it's thinner, it's subject to leak past the seals. So if the engine is worn out and you're running synthetic and you're starting to see a leak, it's not that the synthetic oil messed up your engine. It's just that the conventional oil that you will normally run is thicker. So we're just doing it live in the Caliente Garage. I'm just reading some of your comments, and then I am going to change the oil inside of my Honda Goldwing. So once again, I generally change my oil about 2 times a year. We're getting into the winter months, and some of you are starting to winterize your bike and put your bike up for the winter. So during this time of year, especially getting into the winter months, I'll change my oil, and then I'll run that oil for about 6 months, maybe around the end of spring or the beginning of summer, and then I'll change it out, and then I'll run it hard with synthetic throughout the summer. So for my particular motorcycle here today, I have synthetic oil in the Honda Goldwing, but I'm going to be going back with a conventional oil. Remember, you can go from synthetic to conventional. It's not going to hurt it. Generally in the winter months, since I don't ride as hard, I'll go to a conventional oil. It's a lot cheaper. It still does excellent on the lubrication. I don't have any issues. And in the summertime, when I'm fixing to run it hard, I'll go ahead and switch to a synthetic. So generally about 2 times a year, depending on how many miles I ride. So one of the questions that I have for my viewers: how many times a year do you actually change your oil? Now, the book calls for an oil change, I think it's every 8,000 miles, if my memory serves me correct, on the Honda Goldwing. Sometimes I change my oil so frequent that I don't go by that, but you should go by the recommended intervals for your service. And I think for the Honda Goldwing is every 8,000 miles. Got the oil filter. We're going to go back with a Honda oil filter. If I was going with a full synthetic oil change, I would probably go with a different filter. But since we're going back with a regular Honda conventional oil, we're going to just go back with a Honda oil filter. So I appreciate you guys for tuning in. And when we're finished, I'm going to take a couple of your phone calls if you guys want to call in, if you got anything to say, or if anything you want to add to this video. So before I change the oil, I'm just going to read a couple of your comments. K Major says AMSOIL. So let's move over to getting ready to change the oil on this Honda Goldwing. So just bear with me a second because we're doing it live. So I moved over to this other side of the Honda Goldwing. As you guys can see, I have my conventional oil. Well, I have the synthetic oil, and then I have the conventional oil. So again, once again, if you want to go with a synthetic oil, I highly recommend going with AMSOIL. You guys can put down in the comment section what oil do you run in your Honda Goldwing, and whether synthetic or conventional, what brand oil. But today we're going to be going from the synthetic, and we're going to be going back to the Honda regular conventional oil. So we're going to move these out the way. I'll probably put this inside of the DCT when I do an oil change on the DCT Honda Goldwing. So we're just going to set those to the side. So some of the things that we're going to need for the oil change: got to have some rubber gloves to protect the hands. Also, we're going to use got to have a funnel, and we got to have a oil filter wrench, and on the other end of the oil filter wrench, I could actually take the bolt off from the drain plug with this one wrench. This is actually a 3-in-1 smart wrench. And I'm going to put down in the description of the video or where you guys can pick up one of these smart wrenches. They come in really handy. It'll fit it right around the oil filter. And then the other end, you can take the drain plug from off the Honda Goldwing. So one tool. And also we're gonna use the low profile drain pan. It's a low profile drain pan. Great for the new style Honda Goldwing. It'll slide right underneath the Honda Goldwing. So we're doing it live in the Caliente Garage. You guys are gonna see me go with the conventional oil. So hopefully you guys are tuning in. Hopefully my audio is good. If you guys are joining me from Facebook, you won't be able to see this side of the Honda Goldwing. So when you're gonna do your oil change, first thing you wanna do is warm up. You wanna warm up the Honda Goldwing and get the bike up to temperature. So I've already ran the Honda Goldwing earlier. The bike is already up to temperature. You want to take off the dipstick. You can just unscrew it, lift up on it. The dipstick is located on the right side of the Honda Goldwing. You want to remove the dipstick or just unscrew the dipstick. Make sure the Honda Goldwing is warmed up to temperature. Now, as you guys can see, I have the Honda Goldwing on my pit bull lift. I have it already lifted off the ground. Now, you don't have to lift your motorcycle off the ground to do an oil change. I lifted the Honda Goldwing off the ground just to make it easier for you guys to see what I'm doing. But all you have to do is just put your Honda Goldwing on this kickstand. Or you can put it on the center stand. Probably it's best to put it on the center stand. So you don't have to take your Honda Goldwing and put it on a lift. But I'm just doing it for this video. So hopefully you guys can hear me okay. I'm running a 10W40, but I'm gonna cheat a little bit because I got some 10W30. So I'm gonna add some 10W40 and some 10W30. So we're gonna do a little bit of cheating. The Honda Goldwing holds approximately 3.9 quarts of oil, 3.9 quarts of oil. And we're also going to change the filter. So right now we're looking underneath my Honda Goldwing. First thing that I've done is warm the Honda Goldwing up to temperature, and I removed the dipstick from the right side of the Honda Goldwing. If you guys been keeping up with the channel, if you've been doing any maintenance on your bike, you know exactly where the dipstick is located. So we're gonna put on some rubber gloves. Gotta keep your hands clear and free of oil. So we're gonna put on some rubber gloves, and then we're gonna take off this access panel underneath the Honda Goldwing. We're gonna drop the drain plug and the oil filter. Just wanted to make sure I got everything I need. So we got paper towels. I have my low profile oil pan, if you guys can see. I have my 3-in-1 smart wrench. I'm gonna leave this in the description of the video where you guys can pick this up. And a Phillips screwdriver to take off the access panel. And one extra thing I want to mention, on this particular Honda Goldwing, I have the wing stuff belly pan underneath. I highly recommend that if you have a Honda Goldwing, whether it's the new Honda Goldwing or a previous generation Honda Goldwing, invest into a belly pan. It's easier to spend a couple $100 on a belly pan than to have something fly up from the road and busted underneath of your engine, causing you thousands of dollars worth of damages that could have been prevented if you would have just invested into a belly pan. So be sure to get you a belly pan. Also, I'm going to include this in the description of the video where you can pick up a belly pan from Wing Stuff. And if you missed the video on how to install it, I'm going to include that in the video as well on how to install this. So very easy. We're going to take a Phillips screwdriver and we're going to remove. You got 2 Phillips screws underneath. Now keep in mind, I haven't taken off this panel in quite a while, so there's no telling what's subject to fall from underneath the Honda Goldwing because I'm doing this live. Uncut, unscripted. So I'm going to take off these 2 screws. And we're going to drop this access panel. Probably some dirt and grime is going to fall. Wasn't too bad. Let's set that to the side. Hopefully you guys can still hear me okay. And this is what I like about this smart wrench. It'll fit around the oil filter, but also on the other end, you can take off the drain plug. So this thing really comes in handy. So let's get our drain pan into position. And I'm going to, see if I can get this thing off. I'm gonna get ready to drop this oil. And I don't want to get any on my camera, so I'm going to put the oil pan up to the drain plug, and then we're going to let it out. And make sure that the crush washer comes off with the drain plug. And while that's draining, we are going to just take the napkin and just clean this off. Now Honda recommends that you change the drain, the crush washer, every time you do an oil change. That's what they recommend. I'm not going to change mine, but that's what they recommend. But in the event, if I needed to change it, I have a pack of extra crush washers that I keep in the Caliente Garage. And also I'm going to include in the description of the video where you guys can pick up some extra crush washers when you do your oil change. So while that's draining, we're going to take our 3-in-1 smart wrench and we're going to just turn counterclockwise. And that's why it's best to use some rubber gloves. Changing the oil is a messy job because somebody has to do it. And so now I can slowly turn the oil filter and let all that nasty oil just drain out. All of this nasty oil. We're going to sit it right there. And we're going to just let this drain out for a moment and then we'll come back to it. We got the oil draining. So we're going to jump back up underneath the Honda Goldwing. Before we do that, some of you was asking what oil filter am I using. I'm gonna go with this original Honda oil filter. The original Honda oil filter. The Goldwing calls for an oil change every 8,000 miles. I don't generally run it that long, but since it's the winter months and the bike will probably will be taken out at a minimal, I'm just going to go back with conventional and use a regular Honda OEM filter. In the summertime, when I run the bike really hard, I can go back with a synthetic oil filter and go back with some synthetic oil. Glenn S. I have been running Honda oil. Does running other voids the warranty? It shouldn't, because as long as it meets the Honda requirements, it shouldn't void your warranty. As you know, the Honda Goldwing, when you first purchase it, it comes with a 3-year unlimited mile warranty. So just as long as it meets the requirements. So let's go back underneath the Honda Goldwing. Sorry for the disconnect. The oil is finished draining. So we're going to go back underneath the Honda Goldwing and picked up where we left off. Fellas, when you work on your bikes, you don't want to go in the house with dirt on your hands. So always use some gloves. So the first thing I'm going to do, I want to wipe up some of this oil. Make sure that the gasket didn't stay on the bike. I just like to wipe around where the gasket is going to go. So let's open up the oil filter. Now at this point, I like to preload the oil filter. I'm going to just open up some oil. I'm going to take this new oil filter and make sure I got oil on the gasket. So I'm going to preload this by pouring some of the oil into the oil filter. And I'm going to take some of that fresh oil and I'm going to go around the gasket. Pour just a little bit more inside of this oil filter. And I'm going to just let that soak in. So now that I have preloaded the oil filter, I'm going to get in position and then turn it on the side. And screw on my oil filter. All you need on the oil filter, but once I hand tighten it, I like to just kind of do just a quarter of a turn, just kind of get it a little bit tighter. You don't have to tighten it as tight because the gasket is going to seal as the bike heats up. It's not going to hurt it if you tighten it up a little bit. It just may make it harder to get the oil filter off when you do your next oil change. If you guys missed the first part, remember they want you to change, Honda want you to change the crush washer every time you do an oil change. So we're going to take a new crush washer and we want to screw this down. Take my oil wrench, my 3-in-1. Just tighten it down. You don't want to over tighten it. Just tighten it down. So now what I generally like to do is just take a little brake parts cleaner, and I like to just kind of clean around the area. That way, if I have a leak, or if a leak develops, I'll know it's not any old oil. So I like to just take a little brake parts cleaner and just kind of clean up around the oil filter. Clean that up real good. But before I put the panel back on, I just want to make sure that after I fill the Goldwing with oil, that I don't have any leaks. So at this point, if you want to put your panel back on, that's fine. For my oil change, I like to leave my panel off, and that's pretty much the last thing I do after I refill the Honda Goldwing with oil. And then I'll run the engine for a few moments or a few minutes and just make sure that I don't have any leaks. So now we can get ready to fill the Honda Goldwing with 3.9 quarts of oil. Normally, an oil change doesn't take this long, but when you're trying to do it live, it takes a moment. So we're going to take off these gloves, and we're going to take a few moments, and then I'm going to read some of your comments, maybe even give you an opportunity to call in if you have any questions, and then we're going to refill the Honda Goldwing with oil. So if you guys want to get on right now, I'm gonna go ahead and take a phone call if you want to get on. The telephone number is 901-468-9032 if you guys want to get on, if you have any questions or anything that you would like to add to this live feed. So are you guys ready? We're gonna finish topping off the oil inside of the Honda Goldwing. We started with synthetic over the summer, and now I've switched back to conventional, which is the Honda brand oil. And then once we get into the end of spring, maybe just before summer, I'm gonna go back with full synthetic. So we're gonna switch back over, and we're gonna get ready to top this oil off here in the Honda Goldwing. So we're gonna go back with this 10W30. I'm gonna put a couple quarts of 10W30 and also some 10W40. But the Honda Goldwing calls for 10W30. So we're gonna just pour in our fresh oil. Performing an oil change is the cheapest thing that you can do to preserve the life of your engine. And we're going to pour in all of that good oil. Dustin said he run the 20W50 synthetic. So keep in mind, we've already topped off the oil filter, and we're going to pour in more fresh oil. This is the 10W40 that I'm putting back in the Honda Goldwing. That's a total of 2. We need to get 3.9. I generally just top mine off with 4 quarts. And we're going to open up 1 more quart of 10W40 for a total of 4 quarts. And this is the last one. And we're going to just top this off. There we go. And generally, to check the oil from the Honda Goldwing, you want to just sit it in like that. That looks good. And now I can screw the dipstick back down. Let the Honda Goldwing run for about 5 minutes and just verify that I do not have any leaks. That's it. And that's how I do an oil change on my Honda Goldwing. So the last thing that I generally do is just let the Honda Goldwing run for about 5 minutes and just verify that I do not have any leaks, and then put back the access panel underneath the Honda Goldwing. So we're doing it live in the Caliente Garage. Be sure to let me know what city, what state, what country that you are checking in from. So if you guys are just tuning in, at the top of the video, one of the questions was, if you have synthetic oil in your Honda Goldwing, could you go back to conventional? And the answer is yes, because synthetic oil is derived from conventional oil. So you can go back and forth as many times as you like. Most people, once they go to synthetic, they kind of keep running synthetic, and that's okay. But in the winter months, maybe you're not riding as much, or maybe your money is low. You could actually go back to conventional, because conventional oil is actually cheaper than synthetic oil. And then when you get your money right, you can go back to synthetic. So you can toggle back and forth. And that's what this video is about here today. And that's why I'm showing you guys live in the Caliente Garage that you can go from conventional to synthetic and back to conventional. DL Adventures, clean job. Didn't look like you even spilled a drop on the floor. Yeah, I did pretty good. I had my catch pan down underneath, and everything just went right over into that low profile drain pan that I have. And that thing is really great for especially the new style Honda Goldwing, because the new style Honda Goldwing sits a little bit lower, and you can slide that low profile pan directly underneath the Honda Goldwing. If you guys missed that video, I'm going to include a link where you can check out the low profile oil pan for the oil change. Steven, love your channel. Did you pour oil at all into the air filter, or just let the rim of the filter? I'm assuming, Steve, that you're asking me, did I preload the oil filter with oil before I put it back on the bike? So if that's your question, the answer is yes. Before I put the oil filter back on the Honda Goldwing, I poured oil over into the oil filter. I preloaded it, and then I screwed it back onto the Honda Goldwing. I did not install the oil filter dry. I did not install the oil filter dry. Brian Little, what kind of miles do you have on Old Betsy? I think I got about 83,000 miles on her, and it runs like a top. As a matter of fact, it sounds better now than it ever has. I mean, it purrs like a kitten. So yeah, I mean, it purrs like a kitten. I could crank it up and let you guys see how it sounds. You guys want me to crank it up? You want to see how it sounds? All right, well, we're going to crank it up and just let you guys see how it sounds. Here we go. Purring like a kitten. Oh, she purrs like a kitten. She ready. So she purring like a kitten. Steven, that was the question. Thank you. And I'm checking in from Las Vegas, Nevada. Just bought a 2005 30th anniversary with 12,000 miles. Absolutely loving it. Yes, yes. The 2005 the 2005 is a comfortable bike. Dennis Artis. Hey Chris, just turn in. Love. What are you doing from North California? Also, last but not least, I want to mention this. Also, I'm going to be adding a segment to my live feeds or my Caliente Garage videos. And the name of the segment is going to be What's Your Beef? What's Your Beef? And What's Your Beef is basically is going to give you guys an opportunity to express any dislikes you have for the Honda Goldwing. The Honda Goldwing is an amazing machine. I absolutely love it, so much so that I have 2 Honda Goldwings. The Honda Goldwings are not perfect. You do have to spend some money on them to get them where you want them. But there's a lot of you that seem to be unhappy about your Honda Goldwing. And I want to hear about your thoughts and how you feel about some things that you may not like about the Honda Goldwing, or maybe some things that Honda could have done to make the Honda Goldwing better. So this is not to browbeat the Honda Goldwing. We're not putting the Honda Goldwing down. We love the Honda Goldwing. I love everything about the Honda Goldwing. It's an awesome machine. I call it the most luxurious motorcycle in the world, but I had to spend money on the bike to get it where I want. With that being said, I'm going to do a segment on my upcoming live in the garage videos, and we're going to entitle it What's Your Beef? And that's going to give you an opportunity to let me know what you do not like about the Honda Goldwing, and we want to talk about it. And hopefully maybe Honda might decide to make some changes based off of your recommendations. So if you guys want to get in on What's Your Beef, I want you to send me a short video of you expressing what you do not like about the Honda Goldwing, your likes and your dislikes. So, and I'm going to have you to either send me the file, you can mail it to me, or you can actually download it to me. So we're going to do a segment called What's Your Beef, and it's going to be coming up in some of my upcoming live in the garage videos. I'm going to give you an opportunity to say what you like or dislike about the Honda Goldwing. And I'm gonna close this down in about 1 more minute. 1 more minute. Is anybody that's watching this video, do you have any beef with the Honda Goldwing? Is there anything that you would like to see change with the Honda Goldwing? Is there anything that you wish Honda would have done better with the Honda Goldwing? Or are you like me? You like the Honda Goldwing, you love everything about the Honda Goldwing, you put money into your Honda Goldwing and made it perfect for you. Be sure to let me know. You're on with Caliente, live in the Caliente Garage
from Indiana.
All right, turn down your background noise. So want to make sure we can hear you clearly, Brian.
Okay, I just walked in the other room.
Okay,
can
so
you hear me a little bit better?
I hear you loud and clear. Now you said this is Brian from Indiana.
Yep.
What's going on? What's on your mind, Brian? What's your beef?
I love my wing. I got the same one you got, same color and all, but 2021.
Okay.
You saved me a ton of money with the videos, I'll tell you that.
Yeah. That's the thing about the videos. It'll help you save. I mean, you can't get around buying parts or things, but you know, you can save on at least installing or labor.
Yep, installing sure does help.
Yes, sir. How many miles on you said you got a 2021?
Yeah, I just hit 15,000.
15,000. Okay.
Yeah.
Good deal.
I try and do a road trip once a summer.
Okay. How far?
Or twice maybe.
How far are you from Naptown?
I'm in Indiana. Indianapolis is probably an hour and a half, hour and 45 minutes for me.
Okay, okay, that's not far at all.
Cincinnati's closer.
Okay, so you're near 70.
Yes, 275.
275, okay, okay,
275 makes a big loop through Kentucky, Ohio, and Indiana.
okay. Good deal, good deal. I was just out that way. It was earlier this year. I think I was in Liberty.
I've seen your videos. Yeah,
Yeah, I was in Liberty, Indiana.
you even took it around Brookville Lake.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah, we do a lot of riding out there.
Oh, okay, okay. And shouts out to
It's
Jim.
pretty. Yeah.
Shouts out to Jim out there also in Indiana. He was showing me around out there. Jim and Carol, Carrollton. So shouts out to Jim and Carol Carrollton out there. I think they're in Ohio, but they was riding down in Indiana. So shouts out to them as well.
Yeah, I got a friend that lives in Ohio, and Harrison. He's 70. He just got back from Alaska. He did 9,000 miles in 20 days at 70 years old.
Wow,
That's tough.
He's an iron butt.
Yeah, he's a beast.
He's a beast.
Yes, he is.
That ride is similar to a caliente castration ride.
Yeah, yeah. No, you was talking about having to make your bike your own.
Yes.
I'm gonna have to. I've got just about every gold stripe part extra you can get on my bike. But
Good.
the two big purchases, which are big purchases, are the Healy handlebars you've got and the seat. That's
Okay.
my next two. That's my next two purchases. Of course, they're the big ones, you know.
Yeah, the seat is generally kind of the last thing most riders will pay for on their bikes because it's probably one of the most expensive things that you could buy, or one of the biggest investments. One of the biggest investments you can buy is buying a seat, but that makes a world of difference.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah, that makes a world of difference.
The more I've rode my bike, the seat broke in a little bit, but it's still after 300-400 miles, it still gets to you.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's not the best seat. I'm looking at my seat right now for my 2021 Honda Goldwing DCT. I mean, it's okay. I guess if you continue to ride it, you would eventually break it in, but it just seems uncomfortable. It makes you feel like you're sitting on top of the bike and not in the bike.
Yeah,
so
that's a fact.
Yeah.
Yes, it does.
So that's one of
And
the
then
best.
when you get the seat to where you're actually sitting in the bike, you got to get the bars to bring,
Yes.
get the bars to reach you.
Yes.
Because I'm short to begin with. So the Healy risers, I got the 2-bolt ones to where I had 2 adjustments
Right.
instead of just the one. That helped a ton.
Okay.
But I still want the handlebars. Like you said, you can do a ton of things to them to make them your own, but that's the 2 most comfortable things I think you can do to your bike.
Yeah. If you upgrade the handlebars and seat, I mean, it's if you're having issues with wind, put some wind deflectors on the bike.
Yeah, I got some Baker belts on mine.
Yeah, you can't expect to, and I'm not saying you, Brian, but just anybody that's watching this video, you can't expect to buy a Honda Goldwing and think that you're done. You're just getting started. So you're gonna have to buy. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, yes, you spend a big amount of money for the bike, but unless you buy the bike used with accessories already on the bike. But if you're buying the bike new, you're just getting into the door, you're going to have to buy some things to make the bike comfortable. You're going to have to buy wind deflectors if you're having an issue with wind. If the seat is uncomfortable, you're going to have to buy a seat. If your arms are uncomfortable, you may have to upgrade the handlebars or either buy some Healy bar risers. If the
Even the risers made a big difference. Yeah.
If the grips are uncomfortable, pick up some Gold Strike grips.
Yeah.
If you need extra places to carry your luggage, put on a luggage rack. So, we could talk about the things about the Honda Goldwing that Honda could have done, or maybe some things that we don't like. But the reality is you have to spend some money to make the bike comfortable.
Yeah.
So, that's
You
my
want to
suggestion.
personalize it anyway.
You got to
You know?
personalize it. I mean, the bike is not perfect, but once you put the money into it and personalize it, I promise you, you're going to love this. This is an amazing machine. An
Yeah, I love
amazing
mine. The
machine.
DCT's unreal. Unreal.
I rode this bike when I was out in California. I rode it from Las Vegas, Nevada to Amarillo, Texas in one day. That's 900 miles. I was riding solo on the road on this bike, and it was amazing with the ultimate seat just floating down the highway. 900 miles in one day. Got up the next day, drove another 800 miles. So that's what, 1,700 miles in 2 days on this Honda Goldwing, and it's amazing. And somebody even said to me that I bet you couldn't do that on the new style Honda Goldwing, and I bet that I can. I bet that I can. The year prior, I put like 6,000 miles doing a cross country on the DCT. So it's still an amazing machine. But again, you got to put a little bit of money into it and personalize it to make it comfortable for you.
You definitely can with that ultimate seat.
Yeah. The ultimate seat was like the coup de grace, or as we say, the icing on the cake.
That's fair. Well, Chris, it's good. Keep up the good work. I'll let you get to another caller if you got any.
Okay. I'll see if anybody else want to get on, and I'm going to end this live feed. I'm going to keep this thing open for one more minute. But I appreciate you, Brian, from checking in from Indiana. Yep. Thank you, my brother.
Thanks, Chris.
Thank you.
Bye.
All right. Bye-bye. And that was Brian from Indiana. D and L Adventure said, thanks for doing it live. That is difficult to work on the wing and film, even harder live. Yeah, it is. I mean, I was doing good, and I caught myself switching cameras, and it kicked off my live feed. I couldn't get it back on, and I had to jump through some hurdles to get the live feed back up. But we're back on. We're back running, and I'm going to just condense everything down and just cut out all of the mishaps. But yes, it's harder to do it live in the garage. Road Glide said, GOAT. Thank you, Road Glide. I appreciate you, my brother. Air filter location, no question. Road Glide color TFT touchscreen for easy view of all the dash info. Otherwise, love the new generation DCT engine performance ride modes, low center gravity, contributing to superb athletic handling. Well said, Road Glide, well said. All right, y'all. Well, I've been on this thing for quite a while. I'm going to go ahead and end this live feed. I appreciate you guys for tuning in. Sorry for the mishap. I'd like to thank each and every one of you from tuning in from Poland, from Ireland. Be sure to just let me know what city, what state, what country that you watched this video from. And also let me know what kind of oil that you use in your Honda Goldwing. So I'm going to include in the description of the video a link to where you can pick up the oil filter wrench that I was using. And also I'm going to include a link for the oil pan that I was using as well. So be sure to check out my low profile oil pan video. And last but not least, if you have any beef with the Honda Goldwing, I want you guys to let me know what issues that you have with the new wing, and I'm going to do my best to try to help you work through your issues. So thank you for tuning in. If you guys like this video, I want you to click the like button. And if you haven't already, if you're new to the channel, be sure to click the subscribe button. And also click the bell notification. It'll notify you every time I post a new video, and it'll keep you in the loop. Well, anyway, this is your boy Chris out in the Caliente Garage, out in the Caliente Garage. And I will, as always, I will talk to you guys later.
And I got a beef with Honda. Honda, I got a beef with you. This is your signature bike here. This is your signature. And look at me, Honda. I'm a big boy. Look at it. Took years to get this right here. But listen, you got that new bike. It's nice. Everything looks good about it. It's got all the electronics and all that stuff. But Honda, sit on down at your little research and development table. All y'all get there. I want you to get there and sit down, because this brother Cowboy and I ride with the guy Chris Caliente in Tennessee, and you got to go there and look at what's going on the Chris Caliente YouTube channel. But what I want to say about what's your beef with the Goldwing? I like this Goldwing so much that I bought 3 of them. Look here, Honda. I got one over there, way over there in the corner. Yeah, I still ride it. I got this one. Yeah, I still ride it. And look here, right here. This one right here, come on in a little closer. This one right here, I got from my wife. And we got a little patoot there, a little baggage carrier there for the dog. But listen, you done put that little bitty new bike that you came out with in 2018. Looks real nice. Seat's uncomfortable. Don't like it. Going down the freeway, big boy. We love these things right here. You know why we love these, Honda? I'm gonna tell you. As you're going down the road, you want something that's gonna block the wind from you. Yeah, I wrote your new bike. How many of them did you sell? You want to know why you didn't sell that many? Because you didn't give us a chance, Honda. You didn't give us a chance. You should have gave us a chance to say, look here. We're going to give the big signature with all the electronics and all the stuff that you did. The big fairing. We like that. See, we like that because that blocks the wind. And it's comfortable. It's so comfortable you almost feel like you're on the couch and you're going down the freeway and you have to keep yourself from going to sleep. But you know what? I know what you were doing. You were trying to get the young folk to come on in from those sport bikes. That's okay. I understand that. But you forgot about us, the guys that spend the money. See, those young guys, they ain't spending no $30,000 for a bike. What they're doing? They're getting them sport bikes, spending about 15 grand tops. We're the ones that's spending the money, Honda. That's my beef. I want you to bring back the big body style with all the electronics and all the good stuff that you put on that itty bitty bike that I could have got for Sister Cowgirl. Because you know, she's a little bitty lady. And you know what? Them little ladies will like that little bitty thing going down there. But I don't, Honda. That's my beef. Because it's too narrow. It's too little. So hey, I'm the first one to do What's Your Beef on the Honda. And guess what? There's more to come. If you want to sell some more of them bikes, I ain't buying another one until you make a big fairing like you got right there. I like the electronics you put on it. Put them on it. That's it from me, Brother Cowboy. That's What's Your Beef from Fort Worth, Texas.